everyone, my name is Rebecca and welcome back to another episode of TJLC Explained. Today, I need to address the elephant in the room. I dyed my hair last week. I'm so glad to finally get that off my chest. Also, I switched out the background a little bit. I know it's a lot of adjustment at once, but you know, I'm so glad to finally talk about this. Also, I'm going to talk about the ever-increasing presence of elephant imagery in BBC Sherlock. It wasn't even that funny, okay? I wasn't originally planning to do a video on this, but then a bunch of people requested it, and then the marketing team and Arwel Jones just started going crazy with the elephants, and I basically had no choice. So let's talk about some elephants. Just so everyone is on the same page, the elephant in the room is an English idiom which stands in for an obvious truth which is going unaddressed. Like a bunch of people sitting in a room trying to ignore an elephant in their midst. Kind of like people ignoring the love between John and Sherlock. Ignoring something that obvious only works if you aren't constantly drawing attention to it every other second, which is what they've started doing. That's one of the reasons why I think we can expect the Johnlock kiss to happen very soon. You'll probably recognize this phrase from The Sign of Three when Sherlock is talking about John's blog and some of the cases they've been on since his return. He says,
and of course I have to mention the elephant in the room.
That line comes only a few minutes after this.
The point I'm trying to make is that I am the most unpleasant, rude, ignorant, and all-round obnoxious arsehole that anyone could possibly have the misfortune to meet. So if I didn't understand I was being asked to be best man, it is because I never expected to be anybody's best friend. And certainly not the best friend of the bravest and kindest and wisest human being I have ever had the good fortune of knowing. John, I am a ridiculous man, redeemed only by the warmth and constancy of your friendship. But as I'm apparently your best friend, I cannot congratulate you on your choice of companion. Actually, now I can. Mary, when I say you deserve this man, it is the highest compliment of which I am capable. John, you have endured war and injury and tragic loss. So sorry again about that last one. So know this, today you sit between the woman you have made your wife and the man you have saved. In short, the two people who love you most in all this world. And I know I speak for Mary as well when I say we will never let you down and we have a lifetime ahead to prove that.
If I try and hug him, stop me.
Certainly not.
Ah, yes. Now on to some funny stories about John. What's wrong? What happened? Why are you all doing that? John?
Oh, shit.
So it's pretty clear that the obvious truth that everyone wants to avoid is the fact that Sherlock is clearly in love with John. If that wasn't enough, the case he talks about right before this, the touching case, is expounded upon on John's blog, and it adds a whole other layer. It turns out that Sabrina, the woman coming to them with the case, had been unhappily married for a few years and was having an affair with another woman. She had actually been blackmailed into marrying her husband when he threatened to tell her family that she was gay if she didn't marry him. She wanted to get out of that relationship, but she didn't know how. Sherlock retrieved the evidence of her affair, leaving her completely free of her husband's control, and encouraged her to come out to her family. That way she could be with the woman she loved. And she did, and she got her happy ending. Combine that with the key line we're given from that case.
Oh, she's going to do it. No, she's leaving. She's leaving. Oh, she's coming back.
She's a client. She's boring. I've seen those symptoms before. Oscillation on the pavement always means there's a love affair.
Which is something we've been shown before. And it's becoming increasingly clear that John isn't happy in his relationship with Mary. It makes the elephant in the room even more difficult to ignore. Later, after Sherlock explains the motivation of the Mayfly man, the truth about John's feelings is made even clearer.
Why would he date all of those women and not return their calls?
You're missing the obvious, mate.
Am I?
He's a man.
Why would he change his identity?
Well, maybe he's married.
Married? Obvious, really. Our Mayfly man was trying to escape the suffocating chains of domesticity, and instead of endless nights in watching the telly or going to barbecues with the awful, dreadful, boring people he couldn't stand, he used his wits, cleverness, and powers of disguise to play the field. He was... On second thoughts, I probably should have told you about the elephant in the room.
It's clear from the way he says this that he's worried that people will associate unhappy marriages with John and Mary, and John himself was the one to point out being bored with married life as a possible motivation. Sherlock thinks that perhaps he should have stuck to talking about his love for John and only incriminating himself, rather than pointing out that he isn't the only one unhappy with this union. In The Empty Hearse, the production team were slowly leading into this symbol by placing elephants in the background of certain scenes, such as in Moran's hotel room.
For now,
what freedoms exactly are we protecting? We start spying on our own.
And on Anderson's Sherlock theory wall. Putting it on a Sherlock theory wall is just, that's so extra! What the heck? For a little while, it looked like that was all we were going to get with elephants. And that was fine. The inclusion of the elephant in the room in the sign of 3 was already extremely blatant. But then trailers for The Abominable Bride starting out, and a few people noticed a new addition to the Victorian interior of 221B.
A moment.
The inclusion of the elephant in the Victorian special is actually a perfect match. In the Victorian era, being gay was an extreme taboo, and if Sherlock and John had feelings for each other, they would have likely gone unspoken for an extremely long time. Additionally, the possible, if not probable, relationship between Holmes and Watson in the original canon has been blatantly ignored for well over a century. There were a lot of reasons for there to be an elephant in the room. Little did we know that that elephant was going to take center stage in a pivotal scene. If you saw my video talking about the sexual subtext present in the show, you already know that the scene between Sherlock and Moriarty in 221B is probably the most overtly gay scene of the entire show. And subtextually, this scene is Sherlock being confronted with his own sexual desires, which is why Sherlock mouths the words along with Moriarty.
What was it? What was it? What was that case? Huh? Do you remember? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue.
And why Sherlock accuses Moriarty of distracting him even though he's talking about the case that Sherlock is trying to solve. His mere presence is a distraction.
There's only one thing in this whole business that you find interesting.
I know what you're doing. You're trying to stop me. To distract me, derail me.
Going deeper, the gun going off in Moriarty's mouth indicates that something else just went off. Got off. Sorry.
It's the new sexy.
After the gun explodes in Moriarty's mouth, Sherlock wonders aloud how he survived, and Moriarty starts talking about falls.
I saw you die. Why aren't you dead?
Because it's not the fall that kills you, Sherlock.
Again, this doesn't make sense if there's nothing deeper going on because Moriarty never fell. So what landing are they talking about? Combining this from what we know from the Reichenbach cliff scene at the end of the episode, the fall Sherlock is afraid to take is letting himself feel his love and desire for John. He reminds himself in this scene through Moriarty that the fall itself isn't deadly. It's not having something to catch him. And just as all of this is happening, the camera focuses on the elephant falling off of the table.
Of all people, you should know that. It's not the fall. It's never the fall. It's the landing.
We never see it break. The elephant here concretely ties this confrontation with Sherlock's feelings for John. And again, we see the elephant fall, but we never see it land. So we don't know whether or not falling is safe yet. By the end of the episode, we do. Sherlock will always survive a fall because of his dear Watson. The elephant is back in place for the rest of the Baker Street scenes, where Sherlock is still trying to ignore his desires.
You haven't moved. Now, tell me, morphine or cocaine?
It's still there in the final scene of the episode, but for another reason entirely.
What sort of lunatic fantasy is that?
It was simply my conjecture of what a future world might look like and how you and I might fit inside it.
I see this scene as outside of the universe of the rest of the show. Instead, this scene is actually Holmes and Watson, together in Baker Street as they always were and always will be. In that world, the elephant is in the room. They are not free to share their feelings publicly. That Sherlock shares his imagined future with John, and says he would be very much at home in that world. Watson doubts he would be comfortable there, but Holmes knows he would be. He knows it better, and because he knows what that world would mean for them. Because even though Holmes is a product of the Victorian era, he is a man out of his time. And what reason is there for that other than the obvious, unspoken truth? That Sherlock Holmes and John Watson are in love, and they always have been. And Holmes dreams of a world where they can be together without fear. the world of our show.
In any case, I know I would be very much at home in such a world.
Don't think I would be.
I beg to differ. But then I've always known I was a man out of his time.
And again, it looked like we were done with the elephant in the room. The abominable bride had taken this symbolism to its furthest point, making it clear that the unspoken truth about Sherlock and John's relationship would be clearly addressed on this show. Only the people who would reject that relationship aren't just in Holmes' world. They're in ours. And so the elephant found a new purpose, slowly forcing the mainstream audience of Sherlock to acknowledge that which they've been desperately trying to ignore and explain away. So people like Arwel Jones, the set designer of Sherlock, and the BBC3 Tumblr account took the elephant and ran with it. Since then, we've gotten a lot of tweets and posts which prominently feature elephants. Arwel went so far as to directly reference the phrase in one tweet, and BBC3 implied that Setlock so far consisted only of unaddressed elephants. The fact that they've taken this symbol from the show, which admittedly was rarely used and so difficult for the casual audience to pick up on, and integrated it so thoroughly into the marketing of the show makes me even more certain of something I already suspected. The revelation is coming. And it's coming soon. They wouldn't be doing all of this now if they weren't planning something big. You can confidently expect that by the end of Series 4, they will have addressed the elephant in the room, and it will never take up residence in Baker Street again. So that was a lot shorter than the videos I've been making lately, but I hope you enjoyed it all the same. It was actually nice to talk about a topic this focused so that I could actually talk about everything I wanted to without worrying about making a 2-hour-long video. I know some of you would still watch that, but I don't want these videos to become a chore for anyone, me and Stacy included. Speaking of Stacy, thank you as always to her for editing this script for me, and you can find more of her on Tumblr at Martin Freeman. I reference posts by Vauxhall Landy and The Final Problem when making this video. I also reference posts by Arwel Jones, the BBC3 Tumblr account, and from John's blog. All of these posts can be found linked in the description below. I have another short video lined up for next week before I go back to what is probably going to be a very long discussion about a scandal in Belgravia, which I'm looking forward to a lot, because I know that episode worries a lot of people, and it really shouldn't. So you can look forward to me explaining why soon, but until then, you can get ready to believe. That was so short, I feel like I should do a post-credit thing. Hi! How are y'all doing? Do you like my new lights? Also, say hi to Billy. Isn't he so cool? I love him. He has rainbows in his head because Billy is shredding. It's amazing. Also, you can hear the thunder probably. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I just feel bad for ending so soon. This is like really fast. I'm thinking actually that sometime soon I'm probably gonna do a live stream. So yeah, look out for that. Maybe next week because I have spring break. So that could be one of the bonus things I'm doing for that. So keep your eyes out for that, I guess. Yeah. I got nothing. Oh, I do have to figure out what I'm going to talk about after a scandal in Belgravia, because originally I was going to do mirroring, but I realized if I do all of the mirrors on the show in one video, that's going to be a really long video, so I'm thinking of breaking that up into multiple parts. So maybe I'll do the first part of that the week after a scandal in Belgravia, or I could do the hat meta, because, you know, I want to do the self-indulgent hat meta on my own video on my own meta, because, you know, listen, I'm proud of the hat thing, okay? You only get so many things, and that one's one of mine. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now. This has been awkward, sorry. But yeah, look out for me posting about a live stream soon if that's something you're interested in coming to, because we're gonna have fun. And can I screen share and show the show? That's probably a copyright issue if I actually just show you the show and react to it. That's probably a copyright violation. The BBC has been so nice to me, I don't want to ruin our relationship doing something like that. So, well, I'll figure something. We'll have fun when I do it. I'm gonna shut up now. Have a wonderful day, everyone who watched this. Also, oh wait, there's one more thing. So, elephants, and wait for it, the elephant sucks. Oh god, no. I'm okay. That was a bad idea. Ow. I'm leaving now. Bye.